Every Lamborghini begins long before an engine roars or a wheel touches asphalt. It begins with silence, in a cold industrial yard where massive trucks unload raw aluminum billets. This aluminum is not ordinary. It is aerospace-grade, ultra-purified, and tested for heat tolerance and tensile strength. Engineers select only the billets with perfect structural consistency because these will become the skeleton, the bones of a Lamborghini. The moment the raw metal touches the factory floor, Lamborghini's obsessive engineering philosophy takes control. Here, machines do not just shape metal, they shape desire. Before a single metal piece enters production, it must survive a series of brutal tests. In Lamborghini's metallurgical lab, engineers perform X-ray analysis, tensile stress tests, corrosion simulations, and microstructure scans. Every microscopic imperfection is detected because when a car is expected to survive 350 kilometers per hour wind pressure, the metal must be flawless. These tests ensure that the aluminum can handle extreme torsion, sudden braking forces, and aerodynamic stress. A Lamborghini is more than a supercar. It is a stress-tested weapon of engineering. The approved aluminum billets now enter the forging section. Massive furnaces heat them to over 500 degrees Celsius, softening the metal without melting it. Automated hammers then compress the aluminum with thousands of tons of pressure, increasing its strength by aligning its grain structure. Forging gives Lamborghini structural rigidity, the kind that lets the car slice through air at insane speeds without flexing. Once forged, the metal must be shaped with absolute precision. Lamborghini uses 5-axis CNC robots capable of cutting aluminum to tolerances smaller than a human hair. Each frame component, from the front crash beam to the side rails, is carved with mathematical perfection. The machines use aerospace software to ensure zero-dimensional error. Every curve, every angle, every mounting slot is intentionally designed for extreme aerodynamics. Now, the cut components arrive at the main chassis line. This is where the skeleton of a Lamborghini is born. Robots and humans work together, aligning structural beams with millimetric accuracy. The assembly fixtures use laser guides to ensure everything fits perfectly. This chassis will later hold a V10 or V12 engine capable of producing earth-shaking power, so alignment here must be flawless.
Lamborghini does not use traditional welding. It uses high-precision robotic laser welding. Thin beams of concentrated light melt the metal with surgeon-like accuracy. This creates welds that are lighter, stronger, and cleaner than conventional welding. The chassis becomes a single, unified structure, rigid, aerodynamic, and incredibly durable. One of Lamborghini's secret weapons is forged composite carbon fiber. Unlike regular carbon fiber sheets, Lamborghini uses chopped, randomly oriented fibers compressed under heat and pressure. This creates a material that is extremely light, yet unbelievably strong, perfect for supercars that demand extreme aerodynamics. The carbon fiber sheets are now shaped into Lamborghini's iconic body panels. They are placed into molds, vacuum sealed, and cured in massive autoclave ovens at 135 degrees Celsius under extreme pressure. This process gives each panel its strength, smoothness, and aerodynamic shape. This moment is called the marriage. The carbon fiber body panels and the aluminum chassis finally come together. Robots lift the body, align it with the chassis, and lower it gently into place. From this moment, the machine finally looks like a Lamborghini. Now the most sacred part of the Lamborghini is born, the heart. The V10 or V12 engine begins as a raw aluminum block. It is heated, forged, pressure-tested, and inspected under microscopes. This block will soon carry explosive power, power that shakes the earth when unleashed.
The forged engine block now enters Lamborghini's ultra-high precision CNC machining center. Here, 5-axis robotic cutters sculpt the block into its final form. Each cylinder is bored using diamond-coated tools, ensuring mirror-like smoothness inside the cylinder walls. This surface must be perfect, because inside these chambers, explosions will occur thousands of times per minute. Any microscopic flaw could destroy the engine at high RPM. The machining robots cut oil channels, coolant pathways, and mounting points with sub-millimeter accuracy. This is not just metal cutting, this is surgical engineering. The cylinder head is where the breathing of the engine happens. Air flows in, exhaust flows out, and combustion timing becomes a dance of precision. Lamborghini machines the cylinder head from a single aluminum casting. Robots drill exact holes for intake ports, exhaust ports, spark plugs, and fuel injectors. Then, hardened steel valve seats are pressed into place using hydraulic presses. These must withstand temperatures above 800 degrees Celsius during peak engine performance. The crankshaft is the backbone of the engine, converting vertical piston motion into rotational power. Lamborghini forges its crankshafts from a single steel billet, hammering it into shape under thousands of tons of force. Once forged, the crankshaft goes into a balancing chamber, where small tungsten slugs are added or removed. This balancing is so precise that the crankshaft can spin at 8,000 plus RPM without vibration. Each piston is made from high-strength forged aluminum. It is machined with microscopic accuracy to ensure perfect seal and minimal friction. Titanium connecting rods, lighter than steel, link the pistons to the crankshaft. Together, they form the explosive core of Lamborghini's power. Now the components come together. Pistons slide into the cylinder walls. The crankshaft is lowered into position. The cylinder head is torqued down with robotic precision. Once assembled, the engine becomes a living mechanical organism, capable of producing up to 770 horsepower.
Unlike ordinary cars, Lamborghinis use a dry sump lubrication system. There is no oil pan. Instead, oil is stored in a separate reservoir and pumped under pressure to every engine component. This prevents oil starvation during extreme cornering or acceleration, allowing the car to maintain performance at racing-level G-forces. This is the moment of truth, the engine's first heartbeat. The fully assembled V10/V12 is mounted onto a dynamometer. Technicians run ignition cycles, fuel mapping tests, RPM stress tests, and cooling flow measurements. Flames shoot from the exhaust pipes as the engine roars for the first time. Only engines that pass over 200 tests are approved. Lamborghini's dual-clutch transmission is built with extreme precision. 2 clutches allow lightning-fast gear shifts. Robotic assembly ensures perfect alignment of gears, shafts, and synchros. This transmission can shift gears in milliseconds, faster than a human blink. The heart, engine, and the spine, transmission, are now joined. A robotic crane aligns both components perfectly before tightening them together with aerospace-grade bolts. From this moment, the Lamborghini powertrain becomes a single unified machine. Now the complete powertrain, engine plus transmission, is lowered into the chassis. Laser alignment systems guide the process. Once bolted in, the Lamborghini finally gains its mechanical soul. This is the moment where raw engineering becomes a living machine. At this stage, the partially assembled Lamborghini frame is moved into the laser alignment chamber. Here, ultra-focused industrial lasers measure the chassis down to 0.02 millimeters. Any misalignment, even the width of a human hair, can change the aerodynamics, speed balance, and handling. Robotic arms gently nudge the frame into perfect alignment.
This is the moment when the skeleton of the Lamborghini becomes mathematically flawless, ready for extreme speeds. Now the monocoque, the central safety cell, undergoes reinforcement welding. Each weld bead is done by robots capable of producing identical welds every time, ensuring strength and crash resistance. The temperature reaches over 3,000 degrees Celsius, fusing aerospace aluminum into a single unbreakable shell. This is where the Lamborghini gains its legendary rigidity. Next, specialists begin laying sheets of carbon fiber, one of the strongest materials on Earth. Each sheet is placed by hand, following aerodynamic flow lines designed in the wind tunnel. The placement must be perfect. Even a wrinkle can weaken structural integrity at high speeds. Once the carbon fiber layers are positioned, the entire structure is covered with airtight vacuum film. Through a network of tubes, liquid resin is pulled in under vacuum pressure. This resin flows into every fiber, transforming the fragile fabric into a rock-solid carbon composite. This step determines the final strength of the Lamborghini body, a process borrowed from fighter jet construction. The sealed carbon fiber structure is placed inside a massive autoclave oven. Here, extreme heat and pressure bake the resin-infused layers into a single, ultra-dense material. This process can take 8 to 14 hours, depending on the model. Inside this oven, the future Lamborghini is forged, its durability sealed forever. After curing, the hardened carbon structure is moved to CNC milling stations. High-speed diamond cutters trim the edges with micrometer accuracy. Openings for doors, vents, screws, sensors, all are carved digitally using the original CAD blueprint. The sound of cutters on carbon fiber is unique, sharp, surgical, futuristic. After CNC trimming, the carbon shell is handed over to Lamborghini's master finishers. These artisans touch every inch of the body by hand, sanding, smoothing, refining curves, and inspecting reflections under powerful LED strips. Their goal is simple: zero imperfections. A Lamborghini body must look flawless even before paint is applied. This is the step where craftsmanship becomes visible and perfection becomes mandatory. Now comes the marriage of carbon fiber and aluminum. Engineers bring the freshly refined carbon shell to the aluminum chassis reinforcement unit. Precision laser-guided tools ensure each mounting point aligns perfectly. Bolts made from aerospace titanium connect carbon and aluminum, a union of strength and lightness. This hybrid frame is the secret behind Lamborghini's stability at 300+ kilometers per hour. At this stage, Lamborghini uses one of the strongest bonding technologies in the automotive world: military-grade structural adhesive combined with robotic precision. Robotic arms apply a perfect, even line of adhesive across every joint, the exact thickness, the exact temperature, the exact pressure. This adhesive is stronger than welding, lighter than bolts, and designed to survive extreme speed, vibration, and heat. The carbon shell and aluminum chassis are pressed together in a giant hydraulic frame, and for the first time, the Lamborghini skeleton truly becomes one unified superstructure. Although most of the bonding is done through advanced adhesives and titanium bolts, certain reinforcement points still require precision welding. Specialized technicians, experts trained for years, use micro-welding tools to stabilize critical stress downs around suspension mounts, engine cradle points, rear frame supports. Each weld is inspected using thermal imaging cameras to ensure perfect penetration and zero weak spots. These reinforcements will later handle thousands of newtons of force during acceleration. After welding the critical reinforcement points, the entire carbon-aluminum structure undergoes an advanced quality inspection. Thermal cameras scan every weld line, searching for microscopic inconsistencies. If even a fraction of a millimeter shows weakness, the piece is rejected. This is the stage where Lamborghini's obsession with perfection becomes uncompromising. Nothing leaves this room unless it meets aerospace-grade structural integrity. The unified carbon-aluminum skeleton is now mounted onto a structural test rig. Hydraulic actuators push, twist, and flex the frame with forces far greater than what the car will ever endure on the road. This test simulates high-speed cornering, sudden braking, extreme acceleration, and aerodynamic pressure at 300 kilometers per hour. If the structure survives this torture unchanged, only then is it approved for the next phase. With the chassis certified, the technicians prepare the mounting zones where the heart of the Lamborghini will be installed, the V10 or V12 engine. Precision laser-guided tools align each bracket, each bolt hole, each vibration damper. This step demands absolute accuracy, because at 8,000 revolutions per minute, even the smallest imbalance can become destructive. Now comes the heartbeat of the beast, the engine. Hand-assembled by Lamborghini's engine masters, the V12 arrives on a golden transport cradle. Each engine is tested individually before entering the assembly hall, ensuring flawless combustion, perfect balance, and unmatched power delivery. As it enters the room, the atmosphere changes, because everyone knows this is the soul of a Lamborghini. Slowly, robotic cranes lift the V12 engine and position it above the carbon aluminum frame. The process is silent, controlled, almost ceremonial. When the engine lowers into place, titanium bolts and structural adhesive secure it with aircraft-grade strength. This is the moment where the machine becomes alive, its heart finally meeting its body. After the engine comes the 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. It's mounted with precision dampers to ensure lightning-fast gear shifts, just 50 milliseconds. The drive shafts, differential system, and reinforced axles connect the powertrain, forming the complete mechanical core of the supercar. Lamborghini's adaptive suspension system is now installed. Forged aluminum control arms, magnetic dampers, carbon ceramic brake mounts, each part engineered to handle extreme stress. Aerodynamic channels and underbody fins are integrated at this stage, ensuring unmatched downforce at high speeds. After the hybrid frame is bonded, the Lamborghini enters one of the most critical phases of structural perfection: precision reinforcement welding. Only a handful of specialists in the entire factory are trained for this step. Inside a controlled welding chamber, the vehicle shell is locked into a vibration-free mount. Here, technicians use micro-welding torches, small, bright flames that look like surgical instruments, to strengthen the areas that will face the most extreme forces. Suspension mounting zones are welded with laser accuracy, because these are the points that absorb brutal cornering forces at supercar speeds. Next, the engine cradle welds are reinforced. These joints will later hold an engine that produces fire, vibration, and raw power. Finally, the rear support sections receive their micro-welds, ensuring the supercar remains stable even at speeds that push the limits of aerodynamics. Every weld is scanned with thermal imaging cameras. If the internal heat signature isn't perfectly uniform, the weld is rejected. Only flawless reinforcement survives. This is the moment where engineering meets human mastery, where structural strength is carved in sparks. Now comes the moment when Lamborghini installs the soul of the beast, the legendary V12 engine. Technicians wheel in the power unit on a vibration-isolated platform. This engine is not just a machine, it is a handcrafted masterpiece, capable of reaching more than 9,000 RPM. Before installation, every wire harness, every coolant line, every fuel injector is checked manually. Nothing is rushed, because a single mistake at this stage can destroy the engine at full speed. The entire chassis is lifted by a robotic gantry, and the V12 engine rises slowly under it. For a few seconds, the whole factory pauses. Then the marriage happens. Titanium engine mounts lock into place with a loud metallic click. At that moment, the Lamborghini receives its heartbeat. After reinforcement welding is complete, the unified Lamborghini frame moves into the paint prep cleanroom, a sealed, dust-free chamber where even microscopic particles are forbidden. Here, technicians wearing electrostatic suits inspect the carbon aluminum body under high-intensity white light. Every curve is checked, every corner is examined. Any surface deviation, even a single speck, is eliminated through ultra-fine sanding and micro-polishing. This stage defines the future shine of the Lamborghini, because a flawless supercar starts long before its first drop of paint is sprayed. After the structural bonding is complete, the semi-finished Lamborghini frame is moved into one of the most restricted areas of the factory, the precision welding chamber. Here, only a handful of elite technicians are allowed to work. These are specialists trained for years, mastering the art of micro-welding on exotic materials. Inside this chamber, the chassis is surrounded by robotic clamps that hold it perfectly still. The technicians begin reinforcing the most critical stress-bearing zones: the suspension mounting points, the engine cradle connections, and the rear frame supports. Using ultra-fine tungsten electrodes, they create micro-welds, tiny lines of molten metal that look almost like silver threads under the bright workshop lights. Every single weld must be flawless. To verify perfection, thermal imaging cameras scan each welded point, revealing tiny color signatures that show whether the weld penetrated deep enough. If a spot glows unevenly, it is redone immediately. These reinforcement welds will one day absorb thousands of newtons of force during brutal acceleration and ensure that even at extreme speeds, the Lamborghini remains stable, safe, and unshaken. This is the moment where strength is not just built, it is engineered with microscopic precision. The unified carbon aluminum superstructure is now pushed into Lamborghini's ultra-clean paint preparation chamber, a room where even a single dust particle is treated like an enemy. Here, robotic dust scanners sweep the entire body, searching for microscopic imperfections invisible to the human eye. Technicians in white anti-static suits glide around the vehicle like surgeons, wiping every surface with ionized cloths. Every curve, every edge, every vent must be flawless before paint touches it. This step is slow, delicate, and absolutely essential, because Lamborghini paint isn't just color, it's identity. The paint process begins with a special electromagnetic primer, a coating designed to bond perfectly with carbon fiber. Robotic arms glide around the frame with hypnotic precision, spraying the first layer in a seamless dance of motion. This primer strengthens the body, protects it from corrosion, and prepares it for the legendary Lamborghini colors. Every swirl of the robotic spray is calculated, measured, flawless. This is where the Lamborghini begins to gain its identity, its soul. Once the primer dries, master craftsmen take over. Every inch is hand-polished using ultra-fine abrasive pads. The sound is gentle, soft, a whisper of craftsmanship. These artisans work with the patience of sculptors, feeling surfaces with their palms, searching for the smallest imperfections. If something doesn't meet Lamborghini standards, they fix it. No shortcuts exist here. Perfection is not optional. It is the rule. Now comes the moment every Lamborghini fan dreams of, the application of color. Whether it's Verde Mantis, Giallo Orion, Nero Helene, or Rosso Mars, each paint has its own formula, thickness, and shine curve. Robotic sprayers move with orchestral precision, coating the body in layers so thin they must be measured in microns. Between each layer, the car is baked at high temperatures to lock in the color. Slowly, the Lamborghini glow emerges, a glow recognized by millions around the world. Finally, the clear coat, the armor of the supercar, is applied. This layer gives Lamborghini its mirror-like shine, its deep reflections, and its unmistakable prestige. The clear coat is stronger than typical automotive finishes, built to withstand blistering speed, roaring wind, and unforgiving sunlight. Once sprayed, the car returns to the curing chamber, and what emerges is no longer just a frame. It is a gleaming masterpiece. Inside a silent, dust-free assembly hall, technicians begin installing the car's electrical nervous system. Every wire is color-coded, heat-shielded, and measured to the millimeter. A modern Lamborghini carries over 4 kilometers of wiring, all hidden inside its carbon aluminum skeleton. Next, engineers mount the central brain, the ECU. This tiny computer controls every heartbeat of the engine, every gear shift, every dynamic response on the road. Even a single misconnection can change the driving behavior completely. Dozens of sensors are connected: temperature, pressure, vibration, aerodynamics, wheel speed, and torque distribution. These sensors allow the Lamborghini to adapt instantly at over 300 kilometers per hour. Inside the cockpit, the digital screens, switches, and controls come to life. The Lamborghini begins to develop a personality, its voice, its interface, its identity. Finally, the entire electrical system is awakened. The car performs a full self-diagnostic. Every circuit tested, every signal verified. This is the moment when the machine first opens its electronic eyes. The newly assembled Lamborghini is moved into a colossal wind tunnel, a chamber used to sculpt airflow with scientific precision. Sensors paint a digital map of air pressure across the car's body. Even the smallest turbulence is analyzed to improve stability and reduce drag. The rear wing, flaps, and air channels move automatically as computers test aerodynamic reactions at simulated high speeds. Engineers test how air enters the radiators, brakes, and intercoolers. Cooling is critical. At 800 horsepower, heat becomes the enemy. After hundreds of adjustments, the perfect balance of lift and downforce is achieved. The Lamborghini's stability is engineered, not guessed. The newly assembled Lamborghini is moved into a colossal wind tunnel, a chamber used to sculpt airflow with scientific precision. Sensors paint a digital map of air pressure across the car's body. Even the smallest turbulence is analyzed to improve stability and reduce drag. The rear wing, flaps, and air channels move automatically as computers test aerodynamic reactions at simulated high speeds. Engineers test how air enters the radiators, brakes, and intercoolers. Cooling is critical. At 800 horsepower, heat becomes the enemy. After hundreds of adjustments, the perfect balance of lift and downforce is achieved. The Lamborghini's stability is engineered, not guessed. The car enters Lamborghini's mirror room, where flawless reflection lighting exposes every tiny imperfection. Suspension, brakes, steering, and engine mounts undergo manual inspection. Nothing is left to trust. Everything must prove perfection. A robotic scanner maps the entire body surface, detecting microscopic defects invisible to human eyes. Stitching, leather tension, button feedback, every interaction is tested. A Lamborghini must feel perfect before it drives perfect. For the first time, the V10 or V12 awakens. The roar is checked for purity. A Lamborghini's voice must be unmistakable. The completed Lamborghini rolls onto the private test circuit, its final proving ground before reaching its owner. Engineers test full throttle acceleration. The car must deliver brutal power, clean, stable, and precise. Next comes aggressive cornering, high G turns, sharp braking, and chassis balance evaluation. Engineers push braking systems to the limit. The car must remain stable even in emergency maneuvers. After passing every test, the Lamborghini is polished, wrapped, and presented to its owner. A masterpiece of engineering, ready to conquer the road.